Hi, my name is Curtis Suter from Helena, Montana, and I've been in astrophotography for a couple of years. Um, Thought I'd like to show a video here in how I process a deep sky object using some free software and then some inexpensive paid software. I use Siril, and then I'll use Starnet2. They're both free. Then I purchased Affinity Photo. It's a photo editing program just like Photoshop. You could also use the freeware version of GIMP, but I've really found I like Affinity Photo and just a one-time purchase without having to do a subscription. And then I haven't found anything else that does such a good job as removing noise as Noise Exterminator, and so I purchased that, and that worked as a plugin into Affinity Photo. I'm very impressed with that. So anyway, as I was talking here, these are some of the photos I shot. I'm using a Nikon D5600. It's a one-shot color camera. It is not modified for astrophotography. So looking through a Redcat 51, it's sitting on a Skywatcher as GTI mount that's modified for EQ mode. And of course I have an SV Bony guide scope on there that's running through a ZWO camera. And I'm controlling all of this with an ASI Air, which will change your life if you purchase one. Absolutely amazing little box. So without much further ado, I'll show you how I stack and process a photo on the North American Nebula. It's a NGC 1499. I only got 38 subs till the clouds rolled in, but they're 300 seconds each, 5 minutes. And I shot at an ISO of 200. Okay, to start off here with Siril, they actually have a script that will do all your stacking. So if you don't want to stack through Siril and you have your favorite stacking program, just go ahead and stack your folder, get your one file, and then I'll give you a time frame here. I'll put it on the screen where you can jump to in this video and start watching from there. However, I thought I wanted to show how Siril runs a script to stack these because it's actually pretty slick. So the first thing you need to do is make 4 folders, and they need to be spelled exactly like you see here. Biases, darks, flats, and lights. And just put all of your full files in there. I happen to shoot in fit files. All my darks are in the darks, etc., etc. And then you need to know the directory of where you have all of these. Okay, so we'll minimize this. Let's start Siril. There's Siril's up and running. So we need to set the home directory. And so it has a little house here on the top left, home. So you click home, and then we'll navigate to that folder that I have. So that's, let's see, desktop. I shot these in November of 2022, and I have video test of California Nebula. And that happens to be for this video here. So you click that and just hit open. So now that has set your home directory in Siril. So then you just go to scripts, go to one-shot color pre-processing, click that, and it's going to give you a warning here about using scripts, but that's okay. Let's run it. Then on the console here, you can see it says console. You can see it's running through and it's doing all the processing. So it's stacking all the layers, and we'll just let this run, come back and show you what we have. Again. Okay, it's completed. It says here total execution time was 15 minutes and 9 seconds. If we go down here to my file folders in the center, and so it made a folder called processes, and you can see everything's in here that whatever it did for stacking and aligning, it did in there. But then here's our result fit, and so that's the file that we want. So we'll minimize this. In Siril, now we'll go to open. And since we had set this home directory earlier, it comes right up to the same home directory, and there's our file, result fit. And so we just open that file. So there's not much to see there. Here in the top left, we're just looking at the red channel. And there's the green channel and the blue channel. There's still nothing to see. And then here's the 3 channels combined. So this is in linear mode, and this is really where we want to do all of our adjustments. However, we want to view it as if it's stretched. So if we go down to this box here at the bottom and you open a menu, you can see we're in linear mode. So we'll click on auto stretch, and now we can see our image. Well, that's very green, and that's because a one-shot color camera shoots in 4 blocks. They're red, green, green, and blue. So we're going to basically align the 3 different colors and get rid of some of that green because we're getting too much green data. So there's the blue channel. So now you can see just the blue channel looks nice. There's the green channel. Of course, it's got twice as much information as the blue and the red channels. In the red channel, there's just not much there at all. So anyway, we'll go back to RGB, go to image processing, and we'll come down to color calibration. And there's 2 options in here. So we're going to try the photometric color calibration first. If it doesn't work, or if it doesn't find the object in the sky we're looking at, then we'll come back and do the color calibration. I'll show you how to do both of these. But first, let's select the photometric color calibration. So it pops up a window, and here it's got image parameters. So let's type in what our image is, which is NGC 1499. Hit find, and look at that, it found it. So it populated the right ascension, the declination numbers. You've got 2 different items here you can choose. I don't know that I can tell a difference from which one I choose, but I choose one. And then I come down here and I get metadata from image. That happens to be in a FIT file, which is very nice. You can see it gives me my focal distance, my pixel size and resolution. And then the rest of this, there's nothing to do. You could do a manual background reference for setting the background. I just leave it on automatic. And we hit OK. Let it process. Doesn't take too long to do. And there you can see it started processing the image, and now flipping image and updating the astrometry data. And that's because we put in here NGC 1499, so it's got a catalog. It knows what it should look like. And there it is. It's done. So we hit close. Okay, so that worked out very nicely, and we're starting to get a nice looking image already. However, if that doesn't work, let's go back. This is an undo and redo. So let's undo this. And then, so let's say when we went to this color calibration and photometric color calibration, when we type this in here, if you hit find and it doesn't find anything, well, we can do it manually. So let's close this out. To do it manually, we go to color calibration, then this time select color calibration up top. So we've got a background reference, and what we want to do is select that. So you can't do that in the RGB. If you do, it's going to give you a warning. Hey, you can't do that here. So you could have to do it on the red, green, or blue channel exclusively. So let's select one of the channels. I don't like this red one because there's just not, I can't see the data. The green's kind of washed out, but the blue channel looks pretty good. So now I can come and find a dark area that I want to be my background. So then come over here and click Use Current Selection, and you can see it populates some numbers in there. So we're going to neutralize that background by clicking the big blue button there. It's looking better. So now we want to select a larger area, maybe with the bright stars and part of the nebula in there. Then come down to this lower selection and click Use Current Selection. It populates the areas. And then this time we'll hit Apply. And you can see the execution time was done in 836 milliseconds. So we'll just hit Close, and we can go back to our RGB channel, and it kind of looks like the last one did, except this time it didn't flip the image. So that would be the way to calibrate it manually. So the next thing then we do, since color calibration is done, we go to background extraction. So it pops up another window. There's 2 different modes in here, RBF and polynomial. I kind of like RBF best, I think. I don't do any changes in here. I hit generate, and you get a bunch of little red squares. So once again, you can't add or delete these squares in the RGB channel. You have to select one of the other channels, and you can see actually all the channels are starting to look better. If you want to add a square, you left click with the mouse button, and if you want to delete a square, you right click. So we just deleted that square there. And what you want to do is not have any of your nebula selected in those areas. And so I just go right click through, and where I think there might be some nebulosity, and I look around and make sure that the red squares aren't on any really white stars. Just I'm looking for the background. This is background extraction is what we're doing. So I don't see any selected there. That looks pretty good. So from here you just have two options. You can do subtraction or division. You can try them both, and then you can click and hold your mouse on show original, and you can see which one you like the best. So we're going to go to subtraction, compute background, and it does its thing. You can see here it's almost done there. It took 4 seconds. And if we click and the left mouse button and hold, then we can see the original and then what it computed. And I kind of like that the best. So you could also do undo, then go back and try division and do the same thing and see which one you like the best. So, but I've already done that. I know subtraction looks the best, so we'll just hit apply. And we can close this out when it's done. Go back at our RGB channel and see what it looks like. It looks good. Then here I can remove green noise on the option. And I don't do any changes, just hit apply. And we can come here to the console and look as it executes. Did I not hit apply? Nope. Yeah, I did. So there's processing, and it took, a little bit of time to do that. It's all done. You hit close. So in Siril, this is all I do with the processing of the images, except one other thing. If we go back down to our view menu and go back to linear, well, this is what you actually see right now because we've adjusted everything in linear mode, which helps reduce noise. So we want to go to histogram transformation, and then there's a gear here. Just click that gear, and it says apply auto stretch algorithm to that image. And you can see it just auto stretched it. Hit apply, close, and now that's the image that we've been working on. So now we can save it. Go up to the top right, and this down arrow here, click that. I want to save it as a TIFF file. The reason I want to save it as a TIFF file is so that Starnet can process that and give me a starless. So I changed the name of this because I don't want to overwrite my original stacked file. So I'm going to change result to result Siril. That way I know that this file, I tuned it up a little bit in Siril. So I hit save. So, and then it gives you some options here. Siril only, or correction, Starnet2 only works in a 16-bit. So we select 16-bit, hit save, and it's going to save it in our home directory that we originally started in. So if we minimize this and we go back to our folder here, you can see now we have result Siril. So I'll pause there now, and I'll come back in just a second and show you how we make a starless image. Okay, I'm back. So we just can minimize this window here. We want to go down and open Starnet. So Starnet, when you download it, it's a zip file, and let's see, it shows up right here. So you get a window like this. These are all the files in Starnet. The only one you care about is the executable. We'll double click that. And it says input file. So we browse. So we have to go to the directory where we put put all of our folders. And let's see, I put that in November 22, and then here's my video test California, and then there's my result processed through Siril. Hit open. Then you come down here and you want to rename it. And I just back up before the dot TIFF and I put starless. So I hit starless. You could also click finer tiles. It's going to take a lot longer to run. It'll tell you that here. But I just hit run and it will do its thing. It actually pops up this window here and it tells you its progress. So we'll just pause the video here, come right back when it's done. As you can see, it won't take very long at all. Okay, there we are, it's done. So we can just click the X and close that window. We also don't need this window here. Can go back to the folder where our files were. Now you can see we have one that says starless. So the result was from stacking. The result Siril was from processing in Siril. And then this is what Starnet2 did. So now let's take these last two files and open them up in Affinity. So I'm going to just close out Siril, exit, open up Affinity, go to File, Open, go to my working directory, my home directory, November 22, video test nebula, and then there's the two files. So I'll open both these files. And there they are. And this assigned a different profile to it. That's fine. You can see I have some artifacts here of round circles. I think I had a little dew on the lens. There is a way to get rid of that. You just come over here and click this and you'll get M Painting Brush Tool. And you get a little round thing. You can change the size of it here, the width of it if you want. And you come over and if you just draw a little circle, it should show up red. And it's doing its magic, and there, you can kind of see that imperfection is gone. A little bit of cheating going on here, but sometimes that's what you have to do. We'll get rid of this one down here too. Okay, so there's our starless image. And then there's our one with stars. So what we want to do is process these separately. Because if I do any levels and curves and adjustments here to make our nebula pop, then it makes the stars look really weird. So I want to do all of my nebula processing here and then make a star image and process those here. So let's just copy this background here, right click, copy, then come to our starless image and hit edit, paste, and you can see now we have two backgrounds. If we click this one, we only see the visibility of the layer below it. So this one down here, we could call starless. So we just type starless in there. And then this one here, we could type stars. So what I want to do now is I want two copies of each of these. So on the starless one, right click and hit duplicate. On the stars, right click, hit duplicate. And take one of these starless images and left click and drag until it's right in between. So now I have stars, starless, stars, starless. Well, that's not the right order. So let's move the starless up. Whoops, that one went inside, so you open it up and move it up to the top. There we go. We want to be starless, stars, move that one up again. There, that's what we want it to look like. Starless, stars, starless, and stars. So you can't see these other visibilities down through here, but if you unclick that, now we're looking at just the star image. Click this, starless. So okay, everything looks good. So take this first starless image, want to make sure it's highlighted, go up to the top left to layer and invert. Then you come to the just above where it says starless, where it says normal. We want to click that and it'll open up a window. It should open up a different window than that. Normal, there we go. And come down to, scroll down to divide. So this top image has been inverted and it's on divide. The next one down we highlight and we want to go up to the top left, layer, layer, and invert. And so that's inverted. So now we take our keyboard and hold Control and click Starless and Stars, the first top two layers. So they're both highlighted. Go over to the upper left layer menu. Scroll all the way down here to Merge Selected. Click Merge Selected. It's merging these two together. And once that's done, we go up to the top left again, click Layer, and go to Invert. We invert that. Then we go back to where it says Normal. Now we get a proper menu this time. Go to Screen. And so that looks like our original image. So if we unclick that, the next image down is starless. However, this is just the stars on the menu. So if we get rid of this starless one here and this one here, we're only looking at this one now. Notice how it's only stars. So now we can process these two separately. Okay, so to process these separately, let's just turn the visibility off of the stars. Well, there we go. So now I'm only seeing the starless menu. So make sure that one is selected. And so you can go now to your adjustments layers, levels, default, and drag this over here where it belongs. And here you could take the gamma and see you can get a little more detail out of that. And if you wanted to, you could move the black level down a little bit. Be careful. You don't want to move it too far because you'll start clipping your blacks. And we can close that out. And then you can come down and go to like a curves layer. And we could bring the blacks down a little bit. We can boost it up a little bit more, bring it out more of that nebulosity. And there we could just hit merge, would be fine if you don't want to go back and adjust it again. And so you can see here where we made the levels adjustment. So see, I could click that and I could go back and change the levels that I did. But notice the curves isn't there. That's because I selected merge afterwards. So back to adjustments. Go back to layers. I'm still highlighted on the starless layer. Go back to adjustments. We could come down to like a color balance. The midtones here, and we could adjust maybe that up and see how now we're getting red over here, which I really don't care for too much. So I'm not going to boost that up too much. And if we hit merge, we cannot come back and adjust that. If we just close the box, then you see we could come back and adjust that color balance if we chose to. We could go to channel mixer, and there's the red channel, and we could see about boosting up the reds there just a bit. Any change in the greens that I like? No, not really. Maybe in the blues a little. Very touchy there. And we can close that out. So let's add the stars back in and see what it's looking like. And there's the stars added back in. So I have too many stars. So with the star layers selected, you could go to adjustments and you can go to levels. If you go to levels, you can adjust the black, and you can see if you adjust it over how they start to go away. Not really what I prefer to do. You can also do it here in the gamma, or you can in the whites, but then you get too many stars, so we don't want that. So I'm going to delete this. I don't care for the levels adjustment on that. You can go to the curves, and in the curves you can bring the black down a little bit, and you could boost this up Or you can bring that down, and now look at those stars starting to go away, which is what I'm looking for. So we'll keep that, close that out, go back to layers, and there's my curves adjustment that I just did. So if I wanted to change it again, I can just click on that, and there's the adjustment I made, and I could change it. There's another thing you can do, and there's a little, it's under blend options. There's a little gear here. You click that, you get this window here. And I noticed that if I bring this left slider down, look at them stars get smaller. And look at things really, that nebulosity starts to pop more. If you bring the right side of it down, well, then the stars just go away. We don't want that. And you could add, a little curve into that as well, and just adjust it until you see what you think you like the best. And we can close that out. Anyway, it's looking a lot better. I'm going to go back to my starless image. I'm going to go to Adjustments, Levels, and I'm going to kind of blacken that up there just a little bit, like this. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I don't like how it's oriented, so we could go to here, to the crop tool, and then you could actually drag these down like this or this. But before I do that, let's rotate this, because that's not how California is laid out. And California is not laid out like that either, or like that. This is actually upside down. That's because it didn't flip when we worked it in Siril. So let's flip this. So let's hit cancel. Let's go to document, and we can flip vertical. And now if we go to crop, and then you can see we got the double arrow, we can rotate this. That's how California looks like. So drag the little handles on the edges here until we're clear and have nothing but the image. And we'll do the same thing on the left side. Drag that over. I'm going to crop down the top just a little bit, crop down the bottom a little bit, hit apply. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, one last thing I wanted to do is this is a paid program. It's called Noise Exterminator. I really recommend this. I actually purchased this. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool that's very easy to use. So I click on my starless image. I go to Filters, Plugins, RC Astro, that's where you can purchase it, Noise Exterminator, and you get a pop-up window. It's a plugin that just plugs it right into Affinity Photo or Photoshop, and you can select the denoise percentage that you want and the detail that you want. I'm just going to leave it there for this example. Hit OK, and it starts processing, and it doesn't take too long to do. I do see that you get this where it's not responding, and you can see that's highlighted and say, hey, Affinity doesn't like what's going on. Just ignore that, because it will process, and it doesn't take too long. You wait a couple minutes, and then you'll get a nice noise-free image. So I'll just kind of skip ahead here and show you the before and after once this is completed. Okay, Noise Exterminator has completed, and look at that. That is just amazing. What a difference that made. Here's the before Noise Exterminator, and here's the after Noise Exterminator. Of course, a lot more could be done with this. You can actually go back and change things. You could change things in your curves here, because it's a live filter, and so you could adjust that and get those stars to pop out more, or you could remove the stars a little further if you wanted to. But anyway, there's a quick tutorial on using some free and some paid software and doing a quick adjustment of a deep sky object, the California Nebula. All right, hope this helps somebody out there. It certainly has worked well for me, and I'm very impressed with it. All right, have a nice day.